Bandeyam Shigaro Shriyata Parakamalam Shigurun Vaishnavam Sya Shirupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shirana Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Sya Om Gyana Chimaranda Shaganachana Shalaka Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanagam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Bharatanam Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Premnawe Bijapradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandabaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyasishvara Sridharam Vanchakopatarubhyasya Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami with translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad, and this is Madhya-lila chapter 22, the process of devotional service. So dealing with abhidheya. Verse number 55. 55. El capítulo 22. Okay. Tulayama levena pi nasvargam napunarbhavam Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya Martyanam Kim Uta Shisha. The value of a moment's association with a devotee of the Lord cannot be compared even to the attainment of the heavenly planets or liberation from matter. And what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which is for those who are meant for death. This verse concerns the Vedic rites and sacrifices performed by the great sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shonaka Rishi. The sages pointed out that association with a devotee for even less than a second is beyond comparison to 1,000 Vedic rituals and sacrifices, elevation to heavenly planets, or merging into the existence of the Supreme. Krishna Kripalu Arjunere Lakya Korea Jagatere Raki Jachen Upadesha Diya. Krishna is so merciful that simply by aiming his instructions at Arjuna, he has given protection to the whole world. Sarva Guyatamam Bhuya Shrinu Me Paramam Vachaha Ishtosi Medridam Iti Tato Vakshami Te Hitam Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru Mam Evaishyasi Satyam Te Pratijane Priyosi Me. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So Krishna is speaking to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but all of everyone, all of mankind can hear this conversation and benefit from it. Purva Agya Veda Dharma Karma Yoga Gyan Sabasadi Sheshech Agya Balavan. Although Krishna previously explained the proficiency of executing Vedic rituals, performing fruitive activity as enjoined in the Vedas, practicing yoga, and cultivating jnana, these last instructions are most powerful and stand above all the others. So the instructions of Krishna to Arjuna to become his devotee and always think of him, these stand above any other instructions or processes that Krishna has previously given, such as executing Vedic rituals, performing fruitive activities, practicing yoga, and cultivating jnana. This is much more importance than that. E agya bole bhakter shvara jari hoy, sarva karma tyaga kori, say Krishna bhajai. If the devotee has faith in the strength of this order, he worships Lord Krishna and gives up all other activities. Tavat karmane kurvita nanirvid yeta yavata matkata shravanado va shraddha yavan jayate. As long as one is not satiated by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, one has to act according to the regulative principles of the Vedic injunctions. Although Krishna said, Sarvadharmam parijam mamekam sharanam vraja, ham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchai. He says, you can give up all your mundane considerations of dharma or karma and just surrender to me. That will give you protection from everything. But here in this verse it's saying, as long as one is not satiated by fruitive activity and has not awakened his taste for devotional service by Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, in other words, as long as you're still trying to enjoy this material world and you haven't got a taste for devotional service, then you have to act according to the regulative principles of the Vedic injunctions. But if you have some taste for devotional service and you are engaged in bhakti and serving the Lord, then you don't have to continue with that. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe Sudrida Nisyoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Shraddha is confident, firm faith. Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service. Firm faith and confidence are called Shraddha. When one engages in the Lord's devotional service, he has to be understood to have performed all his responsibilities in the material world. He has satisfied his forefathers, ordinary living entities, and demigods, and is free from all responsibility. Such a person does not need to meet his responsibilities separately. It is automatically done. Fruitive activity, karma, is meant to satisfy the senses of the conditioned soul. However, when one awakens to Krishna consciousness, one does not have to work separately for pious activity. The best achievement of all fruitive activity is detachment from material life, and this detachment is spontaneously enjoyed by the devotee firmly engaged in the Lord's service. Yata taror mulan nisechanena tripyanti tatskanda pujo pashakaha prano paharats chai yatendriyanam tataiva sarvarhanam Achyuta teja. By pouring water on the root of a tree, one automatically satisfies the trunk, branches, and twigs. Similarly, by supplying food to the stomach where it nourishes the life air, one satisfies all the senses. In the same way, by worshipping Krishna and rendering him service, one automatically satisfies all the demigods. Shravan jana hoy bhakti adhikari uttama madhyama kanishta shraddha anusari. A faithful devotee is a truly eligible candidate for the loving service of the Lord. According to one's faith, one is classified as a topmost devotee, an intermediate devotee, or an inferior devotee. So the words are uttama, topmost devotee, madhyama, intermediary devotee, and kanishta. Kanishta means materialistic devotee. Still with material attachments. The word Shraddhavan, faithful, means understanding Krishna to be the summum bonum, the eternal truth and absolute transcendence. If one has full faith in Krishna and confidence in him, one becomes eligible to discharge devotional service confidentially. According to one's faith, one is topmost, intermediate, one is a topmost, intermediate, or inferior devotee. Even if one's kanishta adhikari, or an inferior devotee, it's better to be an inferior devotee than nothing. So everyone may have some material attachments, but if one will continue, then one will continue to come to the or at least the Madhyam stage. Madhyam stage is characterized by one has firm faith in the Lord, one makes friends with the devotees, one preaches to the innocent, and one avoids association of persons who are of demoniac mentality. That's Madhyamadikari. Shastra Jukte Shunipuna Drida Shraddha Jara Uttamadikari Se Twaraye Samsara. One who is expert in logic, argument, and the revealed scriptures, and who has firm faith in Krishna, is classified as the topmost devotee. He can deliver the whole world. Shastre Jukto Cha Nipuna Sarvata Drida Nishchayaha Proda Shraddha Dikariya Sabhakta Bhutamo Mataha. One who is expert in logic and in understanding the revealed scriptures, and who always has firm conviction and deep faith that is not blind, is to be considered a topmost devotee in devotional service. So we heard this said in the Bengali verse, that one who is expert in logic, argument, and the revealed scriptures, and has firm faith in Krishna, is classified as the topmost devotee. He can deliver the whole world. And here we find the same statement, now the Sanskrit verse, confirming what was said. That is this Shastre Yukto Chanipuna Sarvata Drida Nishchayaha Proda Shraddho Dikariya Sabhakta Vutamo Mataha. One who is expert in logic and in understanding the revealed scriptures, and who always has firm conviction and deep faith that is not blind, is to be considered a topmost devotee in devotional service. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. Shastra Jukdina Hijane Drida Shraddhavan Madhyama Adhikari Se Mahabhagyavan. One who is not very expert in argument, and logic based on the revealed scriptures, but who has firm faith is considered a second-class devotee. He also must be considered most fortunate. Ya shastradish vani punaha shradhavan satu madhyamaha. He who does not know scriptural argument very well, but has firm faith, is called an intermediate or second-class devotee. Jahara kamala shraddha se kanishta jan krame krame teho bhakta hoibe uttama. One whose faith is soft and pliable is called a neophyte, but by gradually following the process, one will rise to the platform of a first-class devotee. Yo bhavet komala shraddha sa kanishto nigadyate. One whose faith is not very strong, who is just beginning, should be considered a neophyte devotee. Rati prema taratamye bhakta taratam ekadasha skande tara koryache lakan. A devotee is considered superlative or superior according to his attachment and love. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the following symptoms have been given. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur stated that if one has developed faith in Krishna consciousness, one is to be considered an eligible candidate for further advancement in Krishna consciousness. Those who have faith are divided into three categories: Uttama, Madhyama, and Kanishta, first class, second class, and neophyte. A first-class devotee has firm conviction in the revealed scriptures and is expert in arguing according to the Shastra. He is firmly convinced of the science of Krishna consciousness. The Madhyama Adhikari, or second-class devotee, has firm conviction in Krishna consciousness, but he cannot support his conviction by citing Shastric references. The neophyte devotee does not yet have firm faith. In this way, the devotees are typed. The standard of devotion is also categorized in the same way. A neophyte believes that only love of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is very good, but he may not know the basis of pure Krishna consciousness or how one can become a perfect devotee. Sometimes in the heart of a neophyte, there is attraction for karma, jnana, or yoga. When he is free and transcendental to mixed devotional activity, he becomes a second-class devotee. When he becomes expert in logic and can refer to the Shastras, he becomes a first-class devotee. The devotees are also described as positive, comparative, and superlative in terms of their love and attachment for Krishna. It should be understood that a Madhyamadikari, a second-class devotee, is fully convinced of Krishna consciousness but cannot support his convictions with Shastric reference. A neophyte may fall down by associating with non-devotees because he is not firmly convinced and strongly situated. The second-class devotee, even though he cannot support his position with Shastric reference, can gradually become a first-class devotee by studying the Shastras and associating with a first-class devotee. However, if the second-class devotee does not advance himself by associating with a first-class devotee, he makes no progress. There is no possibility that a first-class devotee will fall down, even though he may mix with non-devotees to preach. Conviction and faith gradually increase to make one an Uttamadikari, a first-class devotee. Sarva Bhuteshu ya pasyed Bhagavan Bhavam Atmanaha Bhutani Bhagavati Atmani Esha Bhagavatottamaha. A person advanced in devotional service sees within everything the soul of souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Consequently, he always sees the form of the Supreme Lord as the cause of all causes and understands that all things are situated in him. Ishvaretad adineshu mahisheshu dvisatsu cha prema maitri kripopeksha yakaroti samadhyamaha. An intermediate, second-class devotee shows love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is friendly to all devotees, and is very merciful to neophytes and ignorant people. The intermediate devotee neglects those who are envious of devotional service. This statement was made by the great sage Narada while he was speaking to Vasudeva about devotional service. This subject was originally discussed between Nimi, the king of Videha, and the 9 Yogendras. Archayam eva haraye pujam ya shvaraye hate natad bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakrita smritaha. A prakrita bhakta, or materialistic devotee, does not purposefully study the Shastra and try to understand the actual standard of pure devotional service. Consequently, he does not show proper respect to advanced devotees. He may, however, follow the regulative principles learned from his spiritual master or from his family who worships the deity. He is to be considered on the material platform, although he is trying to advance in devotional service. Such a person is a bhakta prai, neophyte devotee, or bhakta bas, for he is a little enlightened by Vaishnava philosophy. We heard these terms, bhakta prai or bhakta bas, because Ramai would answer the phone that way. Say bhakta bas or bhakta prai speaking. A prakrita bhakta, or materialistic devotee, does not purposefully study the Shastra and try to understand the actual standard of pure devotional service. Consequently, he does not show proper respect to advanced devotees. He may, however, follow the regulative principles learned from his spiritual master or from his family who worships the deity. He is to be considered on the material platform, although he is trying to advance in devotional service. Such a person is a bhakta prai, neophyte devotee, or bhakta bas, for he is a little enlightened by Vaishnava philosophy. This verse is also from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur says that one who has full love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who maintains a good friendship with the Lord's devotees is always callous to those who envy Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Such a person is to be considered an intermediate devotee. He becomes a first-class devotee when in the course of advancing in devotional service, he feels an intimate relationship with all living entities, seeing them as part and parcel of the Supreme Person. Sarva Mahaguna Gana Vaishnava Shastre Krishna Bhakti Krishnara Guna Sakali Sanchare. A Vaishnava is one who has developed all good transcendental qualities. All the good qualities of Krishna gradually develop in Krishna's devotee. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvar gunais tatra samasate suraha harabhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratena sati davato bahi. In one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifest. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. So it says, even though one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifest. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence. The words used here are manoretenasati. When he's riding the chariot of the mind. That's what manoretenasati. Apparently, we can say some devotees may not appear to have such good qualities, and somebody who's not a devotee may appear to have very good qualities. But that person who appears to have good qualities, you can't be sure of anything with such a person because they're manoretena. They're riding the chariot of the mind. Unstable. This was spoken by Prahlad Maharaj and his followers who were offering prayers in the Shringadev. Okay. Se sab guna hoy Vaishnava lakan, sab kaha na jai kore digdarshan. All these transcendental qualities are the characteristics of pure Vaishnavas, and they cannot be fully explained, but I shall try to point out some of the important qualities. Well, Mahaprabhu here is conversing with Sanatan Goswami, and he says he'll try point out what are the important qualities of pure devotees. Kripalu akrita droha satya sarasam nidosha vadanya mridu shuchi akinchan sarvo pakaraka shanta krishnaikas sharan akama aniha stira vijitya shadguna mitabuk apramata manada amani Gambhira Karunam Maitra Kavi Dakamoni. Devotees are always merciful, humble, truthful, equal to all, faultless, magnanimous, mild, and clean. They are without material possessions, and they perform welfare work for everyone. They are peaceful, surrendered to Krishna, and desireless. They are indifferent to material acquisitions and are fixed in devotional service. They completely control the 6 bad qualities: lust, anger, greed, and so forth. They eat only as much as required, and they are not inebriated. They are respectful, grave, compassionate, and without false prestige. They are friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. Devotees are always merciful, humble, truthful, equal to all, faultless, magnanimous, mild, and clean. They are without material possessions, and they perform welfare work for everyone. They are peaceful, surrendered to Krishna, and desireless. They are indifferent to material acquisitions and are fixed in devotional service. They completely control the 6 bad qualities: lust, anger, greed, and so forth. They eat only as much as required, and they are not inebriated. They are respectful, grave, compassionate, and without false prestige. They are friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. Titikshava karunika suridda sarvadehinam ajata shastrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushanaha. Devotees are always tolerant, forbearing, and very merciful. They are the well-wishers of every living entity. They follow the scriptural injunctions, and because they have no enemies, they are very peaceful. They are the decorations of devotees. These are the decorations of devotees. Devotees are always tolerant, forbearing, and very merciful. They are the well-wishers of every living entity. They follow the scriptural injunctions, and because they have no enemies, they are very peaceful. These are the decorations of devotees. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. When the sages headed by Shonika inquired about Kapila-dev, the incarnation of Godhead, Suta Goswami, who was the topmost devotee of the Lord, quoted talks about self-realization between Vidura and Maitreya, a friend of Vyasadeva's. During these talks, the topic of Lord Krishna had come up, and at that time Maitreya had repeated Kapila-dev's discussions with his mother, wherein the Lord states that attachment to material things is the cause of conditioned life. When a person becomes attached to transcendental things, he is on the path of liberation. Mahat sevam dvaram ahur vimuktes tamo dvaram yoshitam sangi sangam mahantaste samachita prashanta vimanyava sudrida sadavoye. It is the verdict of all Shastras and great personalities that service to a pure devotee is the path of liberation. By contrast, association with materialistic people or attached to material enjoyment and women is the path of darkness. Those who are actually devotees are broad-minded, equal to everyone, and very peaceful. They never become angry, and they are friendly to all living entities. So if one has association and attachment to a pure devotee, that is the path of perfection. And in contrast, association with materialistic persons, especially here when it says who are attached to material enjoyment and women, means attached to material, so many material aspects of mundane life, and also to sex. That's what that is referring to. Those who are actually devotees are broad-minded, equal to everyone, and very peaceful. And they never become angry, and they are friendly to all living entities. No? This comment is not directed against women. It's directed to persons who exploit the relationship between men and women. That's what it's referring to. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoy Sadhu Sangha Krishna Prema Janme Teho Puna Mukya Sang Anga. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoy Sadhu Sangha Krishna Prema Janme Teho Puna Mukya Anga. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential. Babu pavargo brahmato yada bhavej janashyatarhi achyuta satsamagamaha. Baba pavargo brahmato yada bhavej janashyatarhi achyuta satsamagamaha satsangamo yashi tadaiva sadgato paravareshe tvai jayate ratihi. O my Lord, O infallible Supreme Person, when a person wandering throughout the universes becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets an opportunity to associate with devotees. When he associates with devotees, his attraction for you, when he associates with devotees, his attraction for you is awakened. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal of the topmost devotees and the Lord of the universe. Ata atyantikam shemam prichamo bhavato nagaha samsarismin shanardopi satsanga sevadir ninam. O devotees, O you who are free from all sins, let me inquire from you about that which is supremely auspicious for all living entities. Association with a pure devotee for even half a moment in this material world is the greatest treasure for human society. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti karna rasayana kataha tajoshanad ashvapavarga vartmani shadaratir bhaktir anukramishyati. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. Asatsanga tyajat e vaishnavachar Sri Sangi eg asadu Krishna bhaktivar. A Vaishnava should always avoid the association of ordinary people. Common people are very much materially attached, especially to women. Vaishnavas should also avoid the company of those who are not devotees of Lord Krishna. That's the basis of mundane life, is exploitation. Exploitation of others. Satyam shocham dayamonam buddhiri shrir yasha shama samodamo bagascheti yat sangad yati Sangshayam Teshvashanteshu Mudeshu Kanditat Masvasadushu Sangamna Kuryats Chocheshu Yoshit Kridam Rigeshu Cha Natatasya Bhavin Moho Bandas Chanya Prasangataha Yoshit Sangad Yata Pumso Yata Tatsangi Sangataha. By association with worldly people, one becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, and all opportunities. One should not at any time associate with a coarse fool who is bereft of the knowledge of self-realization and who is no more than a toy animal in the hands of a woman. The illusion and bondage that accrue to a man from attachment to any other object are not complete as that resulting from association with a woman or with men too much attached to women. By association with worldly people, one becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, and all opportunities. One should not at any time associate with a coarse fool who is bereft of the knowledge of self-realization and who is no more than a toy animal in the hands of a woman. The illusion and bondage that accrue to a person from attachment to any other object are not as complete as that resulting from association with a woman or would men too much attach to women? So one might think that these verses are very directed against women, but actually what we can understand is Mahaprabhu, most of his associates and most of the persons, well, he had association with the advanced devotees, but so many of the acharyas or grihastas, or persons with involved in family life. For instance, I believe Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he's the 13th son of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So, and so many of Mahaprabhu's associates, they're persons with families. So one has to see what is the gist of what's being said here. Materialistic life is always involved in the relationship of man and woman, like that. That's the basis. Even in other forms of life, not just humans, animals, insects, plants. I'm sure when they investigate and they get into detail, they'll probably find these kind of materialistic relationships, sexual relationships, are going on even in vegetables. It may seem, it's just the basis of what materialistic life is about. These verses quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam were spoken by Kapila Deva, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to his mother. Herein, Kapila Deva discusses pious and impious activities and the symptoms of those who are devoid of devotional service to Krishna. Generally, people do not know about the miserable conditions within the womb of a mother in any species of life. Generally, people do not know about the miserable conditions within the womb of a mother in any species of life. Due to bad association, one gradually falls into lower species. Association with women is greatly stressed in this regard. When one becomes attached to women, or to those who are attached to women, one falls down into the lower species. Now, but at the same time, it's been remarked that these verses were spoken by Kapila Deva to his mother, not speaking to someone who's a renunciant. He's speaking to his own mother. And as I said many, many times, I've given an example. I read one article by one sannyasi who took his mother to see the Taj Mahal. And the Taj Mahal is basically, I guess, I don't know the exact words, but it's a mausoleum built by a Muslim king to his wife. And that devotee who was talking about taking his mother to the Taj Mahal says that this is a monument built by a king to his wife, but at the same time one has to understand that in this world there's only lust. That may be true, but we still see extensions of love in this world. A mother to her child. It's not based just on lust. It may be just a reflection of the real love that is existing on the divine platform. But still we're not thinking that the motivation between a mother and her son or daughter is just lust. And that same devotee, he was taking his mother to the Taj Mahal. Wasn't his relationship with his mother obviously has some love, and that's why he's taking her there. And in the same way, Kapila Deva is speaking to his mother. He's talking to her. Parusha Prakriti sto I bhunkte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam guna sangosha sad asad yonijanmasu. A living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. According to Vedic civilization, one's association with women should be very much restricted. In spiritual life, there are 4 ashramas: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. The brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyasi are completely forbidden to associate with women. Well, vanaprastha, husband and wife, when they go to the forest, they're engaged in vanaprastha life. So they're completely forbidden to associate with women, but only on that level of mundane enjoyment. Only grihasthas are allowed to associate with women under certain very much restricted conditions. That is, one associates with women to propagate nice children. Other reasons for association are condemned. Okay. Param huta vahajvala panjarantar vyavastiti sashori chinta vimuka jana sambasa vaishasam. It is better to accept the miseries of being encaged within bars and surrounded by burning flames than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. Such association is a very great hardship. So I'll finish with this verse here. Na drakshi shina punyam kvachidapi bhagavad bhakti hinan manushan. One should not even see those who are bereft of devotional service and Krishna consciousness, and who are therefore devoid of pious activities. Okay, one more verse. Etasab chadiyara varnashrama dharma akinchana hoya loy shanaika sharana. Without hesitation, one should take exclusive shelter of Lord Krishna with full confidence, giving up bad association, even neglecting the regular principles of the 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. That is to say, one should abandon all material attachment. So, hopefully tomorrow we'll continue with Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanatan Goswami about abhidheya, the process of devotional service. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasha Raghunath Sri Seva Gopala Bhatta Nasaraguna Hey Chai Gosai Kori Janana Bandan I Gosai Kori Janana Bandan Now Ite Vignana Shabishta Puran Now Ite Vignana Shabishta Puran Hey Chai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Hey Chai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Kasavara Pada Renu Mora Panchagras Kasavara Pada Renu Mora Panchagras Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Tader Charana Sevi Janame Janame More Abhila Hey Chai Gosai Jabe Baje Koilabas Chai Gosai Jabe Baje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Anande Bhajo Acha Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Jai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottamudam Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narottamudam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gora Hari Bo 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 Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hara Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Jai Saparikara Shri Guru Varanga Gandharvika Giridhara Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Tilak Niraya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parabhajaka Charyashta Tara Sadasi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parabhajaka Charyashta Tara Sadasi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath, Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Premisigo, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi, Shri Gaura Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. Vishvabaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupad Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Ki Jai, Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Saparshada Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Koladev Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai, Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Kulindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai, Shri Purushottam Madam Ki Jai, Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Jo Ki Jai, Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shina Shingadev Ki Jai, Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Shri Ramananda Roy Tirobab Mahotsav Ki Jai. Disappearance day of Sri Ramananda Roy Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.